Thanks for joining us here on Arts 24. We have a very special edition today. We're heading to Avignon. France's oldest theatre festival turns 80 this year, and the program is stacked with big names. French actress Isabelle Huppert and Golden Globe winner Brazilian actor Wagner Moura will participate this year, and Korean is the language of honor at the festival. To tell us more, our Olivia Salazar-Winspear is there in the south of France. Hi, Olivia. What's on the bill in Avignon this year?
Well, in the city's most prestigious stage, the beautiful 14th century Palais des Papes, we have young French theatre star Julien Gosselin bringing his play Mal d'Aurore to the stage. This is a sort of literary mashup between the work of French poet Lautréamont and the Chilean author Roberto Bolaño, and it's an exploration of the concept of evil and why evil and extreme violence has often fascinated writers. The staging is just stunning. The use of that space is amazing. Live cameramen are projecting images from different angles as the actors are on stage to a big screen there. It's very cinematic. The music and lighting's beautiful. It's over 5 hours long, so it's quite epic. Another drama we checked out came from Egyptian director Ahmed Al-Attar. Now, this is called Salma Mon Amour, and it explores the effects of the October 7th, 2023 attacks on an Egyptian family, a very wealthy Egyptian family living in Cairo, especially the young heroine, Salma, and how she's influenced by social media, the mediation of how we see violence through screens. It's a very political and powerful piece of drama.
Now, it's not always the case at such high-profile arts festivals, but this year there are actually plenty of female directors who are presenting their work.
Yeah, that's right. For example, Brazilian director Cristiane Jataí, she's bringing her adaptation, very loose adaptation, of Henrik Ibsen's work, An Enemy of the People, A Trial, starring that actor you name-checked. You probably know him better from the Netflix series Narcos, Wagner Moura. There's young French talent Marion Sieffert. She's bringing a play called Bunker to the stage. That's a sort of climate catastrophe and survival reflection. And then French director Rebecca Chaillon, always known for her experimental, bold theatre. This piece, The Parable of Disgust, is about fat phobia and other very timely political issues. It really pushes the envelope in terms of contemporary theatre, form and content.
Well, you've just mentioned their talent from Brazil, Egypt this year. I mean, the festival's always been very multicultural, very international. Now, you mentioned plays in English, in Arabic. Each year, the festival actually has a guest language, doesn't it? And this year, you can tell us a bit more about this year's language of honor.
This year, the guest language is Korean, which means there's a wealth of performances from Asia, Asian artists, Asian companies. One of them is a staged reading of the work of Nobel Prize-winning author Han Kang. This is in French and Korean, performed by Hye-young Lee and Isabelle Huppert, no less, in the Palais des Papes. That's called Oiseau or Bird. It's in both languages. We actually spoke to festival director Thiago Rodriguez about this choice of the Korean language, and he told us a bit more about why he chose it.
We
wanted to go one step further and showcase a language that, while increasingly present around the world, is still quite isolated geographically. We hear Korean thanks to K-pop, K-dramas, TV series, and of course cinema and literature. Indeed, Nobel Prize-winning author Han Kang is attending the Avignon Festival and is involved in two of the festival's productions. But above all, we want to introduce the audience to their performing arts scene, theatre and dance, which are relatively unknown here and which allow us to discover a society we're not very familiar with.
Well, it's nice to see another aspect of Korean culture being represented at the festival. Olivia, tell us which Korean production stood out for you then?
Well, there's one that is just so fascinating. It's called Muljil. It's set on Jeju Island in Korea. And while the subject matter's quite melancholy, it's about the fragility of life and death, the staging is beautiful. It's actors basically immersed in water for most of the play. Very poetic, very, very good on stage. The lighting's gorgeous. Take a look.
Very intense images there. Now, as we mentioned, Olivia, this is the 80th edition of the Avignon Festival, which makes it the oldest performing arts event in France. The festival was launched in 1947 by actor and director Jean Vilar, and Avignon quickly made a name for itself in Europe and beyond. Aurore Dupuis takes a look back at 8 decades of groundbreaking theatre.
Avignon, a UNESCO World Heritage gem, turns into one giant stage during the festival. Theatre, dance, music, there's something for everyone, and it's been running for 80 years.
Without the festival, Avignon just wouldn't be Avignon. The whole city comes alive. We're happy.
It all started in 1947, when Jean Vilar launched the very first edition with just 7 performances. His aim was to make theatre more accessible to the people. The medieval fortress, the Palais des Papes, was his stage, a place he'd only visited once before.
My cousin was a train driver and he took me on holiday to Avignon. I was about 8 and I was struck by the sheer size of the Palais des Papes. When the courtyard is empty, it's stunning, massive.
That courtyard became the festival's iconic venue, drawing larger crowds every year. In 1966, independent artists started painting and playing in the streets alongside the official program. The Off Festival was born, turning the entire city into a live performance. But in the 2000s, the festival faced some difficult times. A performers' labour dispute, the COVID pandemic, 2 editions of the festival were cancelled. Since then, millions of visitors have flocked back to the festival, attracted to its increasingly international profile. This year, the Korean language is in the spotlight, celebrating 80 years of creativity.
Olivia, there is, of course, the official selection at Avignon, but we saw it just there in that report. There's also the Fringe Festival, or the Off, as they call it in French. Can you tell us what the selection of the Fringe is like this year?
Well, in fact, it might be the side selection, but it is much bigger than the official programme. The Off, or the Fringe, contains more than 1,700 shows this year being performed in all sorts of spaces. There are many little theatres here in Avignon, and then parks, cafes, public buildings. It's a really incredible platform for established actors and aspiring artists. Now, we're joined by the co-president of the Off, Laurent Domingos. Hi, Laurent.
Hi.
Can you tell us what the Off offers artists and the audience?
The Off Festival presents a lot of diversity in terms of arts. It brings us the creation, the national creation, the diversity of the creation, from small companies with young artists to very confirmed and very famous artists or companies. So it's really the whole creation capabilities of France, and also of international companies. So from a theater to a dance to a circus to puppets, you can see an amazing diversity of shows. It's very popular. But it's very high-quality shows now.
And like you say, lots of different forms, but also lots of different subject matter, socio-cultural, political. We saw that earlier this year, Alexis Michalik's play Passport was actually cancelled in the southwest town where the far-right mayor had arrived. They didn't like the subject matter, immigration. How do you see these attempts to censor dramatic work? Is it a serious threat?
Yeah, we think that it's a serious threat. Yeah, the far-right parties are clearly displaying their program, and they are completely in the censorship of what is not in their line. So we are very afraid of what can come in the future. So we will be all mobilized not to have that. I spoke to the Minister of Culture yesterday to alert her on that matter. There is a law in France that you can show if someone forbid your show, but it's very hard to make it through, and I think that we should be very careful. It's not happening to others. It can happen to us.
Absolutely. And as you mentioned, Laurent, it's a very international selection in the OFF, or the Fringe as well. And this year there's a special focus on artists from countries in the Mediterranean. So plenty of productions from Algeria, Morocco, Tunisia, Lebanon. We managed to catch one of those productions from an Italian company. It's called Boxer, and it focuses on one Tunisian boxer, one Italian boxer, and it's set to a backdrop of the Second World War, bringing up some important political themes. It calls itself a resolutely anti-fascist play. It's a one-man show with one actor playing both of those roles, the incredibly talented Stefano Pietro di Tassis. It's a fantastic polyglot performance, so I definitely recommend that one.
Thanks for the recommendation, Olivia. Thank you also for bringing us all the latest from the Avignon Festival. Let's leave you with a short clip of the play that Olivia was telling you about, Boxer, from the Pecco Company. Thank you so much for watching Arts 24. See you next time.